Hello and welcome to Silvia, the silk weaving spider. And there she is, my friends. Hey, this is an on your own problem, so you should have solved the entire problem on your own, and now you're watching this video just to make sure you did everything correctly, my friends. Without further ado, let's move on to our scenario. And here we have Silvia, the silk weaving spider, who makes a new web every day. She has to, because bees, mosquitoes, and other bugs fly into her webs and wreck them. Yesterday, Silvia created a web that was made up of 25.8 yards of silk. Today, she created a new web that was made up of 37.07 yards of silk. How much silk did Silvia weave over the past 2 days? All right, well, this is an addition problem. We're adding 25.8 plus 37.07. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, the first thing you always want to do is make sure you line up your decimals like the buttons of a shirt. So we're going to do that right here, and we're going to go 25.8, and then we're going to take the 37 and make sure the decimal is right underneath the 25's decimal, right? So these two decimals need to be lined up for sure, my friends. And we can see that they clearly are. So let's go ahead and plug in the numbers now, and I've got 37 here, and then I've got a 0 in the tens place right underneath the 8, and I've got a 7 in the hundredths place. And if you think about this, this is the tens place, and this is the hundredths place. So I need to add a 0 right here to take care of that hundredths place up on the first number, the 25.8. And now I am ready to rock and roll. So I will make my line underneath, which represents the equal sign, and I'll make the addition sign right here. And now I'm going to model the dot method. So now I really don't need to here because I've got just a 0 and a 7, so that's simple. I don't need to worry about any dots there. I can simply drop that 7, so drop the 7. And then the same thing here, I've got 8 and 0, so I don't need to worry about any dots or anything. That's pretty simple. I just drop that 8. And then you cannot forget, you got to line up those decimals like the buttons of a shirt, right? So we're going to drop that decimal right there. And there you have it, my friends. And now is the first time I can worry about doing some dots, right? So I've got a 7 and a 5. 5 is smaller than 7, so I'll make 5 dots. So here we go. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th dot. And then I'm going to put my pencil on the 7 and count up. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I will drop my 2, carry my 1, and circle those dots so I know I've used them. And then I'm going to come over here, and I got a 3 and a 2. So I'll make 2 dots, and I'll just go 1 and 2 right there. And then I put my pencil on the 3, and I cannot forget that 1. So I'm going to go 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I will drop my 6 and circle those dots so I know I use them. And right there, my friends, is your answer. You've got 62.87 yards of silk, because remember, we're talking about how much silk Silvia weaved over the past 2 days. And she had 25 yards, 25.8 yards one day and 37.07 yards the second day. So we've got a total of 62.87. Now, you can also think of this as 62 and 87 100ths. And the reason you can do that is because the 8 is in the tens place and the 7 is in the hundredths place. So this would be 87 100ths. So she made 62 yards and another 87 100ths of a yard, which is almost, if you were going to round this off, you'd say 63 yards. Almost 63 yards of silk right there, my friends. And that's a whole lot of silk. Hey, If you made a mistake anywhere along the way here, no worries at all. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now let us move on to our next problem right down here. And Silvia is curious. She wants to know how much bigger today's web is than yesterday's web. How many more yards of silk was used to create today's web? All right, well, this time we are going to do a subtraction. And because we want to find the difference, how much longer one was than the other, right? So that's going to be subtraction, my friends. And we're going to take the 37 because that is the bigger number, right? And 37.07. And then we're going to subtract the 25.8 right there. So let's go ahead and get started doing that right here. And I'm going to just grab this first one, and I'm going to go 37.07. And then I'm going to subtract the 25.8. And it's really important you remember that you've got to line up these decimals so they're like the buttons of a shirt, my friend. And then as you see, I've got a 0 here. Now, since I'm subtracting, I could leave it alone, but I always like to add the 0 to hold the place value of whatever I'm working with. And in this case, I'm working in the hundredths place. And then I'm good to go. Now, the next thing I want to do is look for any trouble coming. I clearly do not have any trouble here. I do not have any trouble here, but I do have trouble coming right here because I cannot take nothing and subtract 8 away from it, right? So I'm going to go ahead over here and I am going to borrow a group of 10 from this 7. I'm going to turn that into a 6 and make this a 10 right here. And now, as you see, I have no more trouble coming. I've got no trouble here, no trouble here. 10 minus 8, I can certainly do that. And 7 minus 0, I can certainly do that. I got absolutely no trouble, my friends. All right, so I can move on to the subtraction portion of this video here. And what I'm going to do is simply subtract, right? And the first one I've got here is 7 minus 0. That's simple. I don't even need to worry about that. I can just drop that 7. And then I've got, right here, I've got 10 minus 8. So I'm going to put my pencil on the 8 here and count up to the 10. So 8, and then I'm going to just count up. 9 and 10. And I've got 2 dots here, right? So I've got 1 and 2, which means my answer is 2 down here. So I can drop that 2 and circle those 2 dots here. Then the next thing you've got to remember is always drop your decimal and keep them straight in a straight line like buttons on a shirt, my friend. So we're going to do that right there. And then I've got 5 up to 6, or 6 minus 5, right? Which will give me 1. You can also go 5 and then make your dot 5, 6, and you've got 1 dot right there. So go ahead and drop your 1. And the same thing here, 2 to 3, I got 2, and then I would make just 1 dot to get up to 3. So I would get a 1 here. The other way you can think of it is 3 minus 2 is 1, right? So either way you slice it, my friends, the answer is 11.27. And that's how much longer today's web was than yesterday's web, right? So let's go ahead and look at this just one more way here. And we can also think of this as 11 and 27 100ths, because this right here, this 7 here, is in the hundredths place. So you got first of all, you have the tens place, the ones place, then you got your decimal, the tenths, and then the hundredths place, right? So it would be 27 100ths. So 11 and 27 100ths. And that's how much longer today's web was than yesterday's, because today's web and yesterday's, right? Hey, as always, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way here, no worries at all. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you soon, my friends. Bye for now.